Shall I stick with the old one or go to a new one? Let's find out. Good morning, everyone, and welcome back to Piccadilly. Now, in this episode, what I thought to be doing is to start thinking about some of the things that we talked about in the last video, i.e. start thinking about the interior of the footbridge area and this area over here. Now, this is the area I'm going to concentrate in this video, and particularly that structure just there. Now, some of you may be thinking I've only just made it. Well, unfortunately, I didn't, because I would have realised that it's actually far too big. If you travel through Piccadilly station on a regular basis, you will realise that actually it only comes up just about as far as the windows just there, and that's the top of the roof. So I've done it massively over scale. But not only that, it's far too long this way, and if I'm remembering correctly, there's like a platform area which runs around here, and there's a domey type roof which goes over this area in front of the canopy here. So I've got to do something about it. Now, you might think to me, well, why did you do it that big? Well, you see, the thing is, I did that over a year ago because that area down there was the first scenic area that I did. And I built that basically from Google Maps, Google Street Maps. And I'd got nothing to scale this against. So I had to guess it by just judging it against the side of the building down here, the side of Piccadilly station, and try and work it out that way. But as you can see, I got it dramatically wrong. It happens sometimes, and we just have to move on from that. So I've got two choices. Either I can use some of it or scrap it and start again. Actually, it looks as if it's falling apart anyway by the looks of it. Now, it's far too long that way, so my initial thought is to cut this section off and cut the roof off. But you see, the whole thing is based, the width and the length is based on the shape of the roof. I'll have to look at the aerial photographs on Google Maps and take it from there. I'm going to take you down to the workbench now. I'll show you as many pictures as I can. Right, so you join me back at the computer at the workbench, if you like. And that's probably one of the clearest pictures of this building that I can see. Now, if I compare that to this, I mean, the one thing that stands out immediately is the quality of the build is just absolutely appalling. So I need to address that. I'm not happy with the quality of the build. But also, if I take you in a bit further, that here, this brickwork just here is brick. Now, when I first did it, I thought it was wood. So hence I did that patterning there. So obviously I've got to address that as well. But also this area at the top here is considerably taller than I first thought. Now, I think what happened was I was fooled by perspective, I think. And when you look at something from ground level, it appears to be a lot taller than it actually is. And as I said, I was only scaling it against the side of the building. So I really thought it was a lot taller. So I've actually done, I've taken this from Google Maps and just done a tracing, a very rough tracing. Now, I can make my building 70 millimetres wide, or long if you like, which is considerably big or smaller than that. So looking at it, if I put that on the top there, it's a complete rebuild. You know, I don't think I can get around that. What I might do, it does appear to be a little on the small side to fit a doorway in there, because obviously that's a lift hatch or a lift door for the lift. So I might have to make it a tad bigger, but not much. So I think I'll probably end up doing it somewhere around about that wide, which is probably about 80 millimetres wide, which would then hopefully just widen this gap enough. I could reduce this little bit here by a small amount, but not a lot, because again, like I said, a person has got to get into lift doors there. And if I remember correctly, they're double lift doors. I don't think it's a single width door. It's just like a normal lift. So I will have to rebuild it. Now, how am I going to do that? Well, first of all, what I'm going to do is to start with is just cut out probably 3 or 4 of these to represent the actual basic shape, and that will make the bottom, middle and top layers. And then all I've got to do then is cut out each of the side walls and stick it to those parts. So I will get some of these sized up correctly and then cut out of 2mm grey board, which will be the same as this. Okay, I'll speak soon. Okay, what I've done now, like I said before, I've cut out these basic shapes, and that is based on that. Okay, so you can see that's pretty much that shape there. Now, I did alter it a little bit. Obviously, I've given a bit back here, so this is a tad wider, and like I said, I've made it a little bit longer in the length. Now, you will also notice there are 6 pieces here, and I said I was going to cut 3 or 4. Well, what I decided was this would be the base piece, and then you've got 2 pieces sort of providing the structure there, and then a roof piece, sort of like that. Okay, hopefully you can make that out if I put it more there. Yeah, so you can see there's 4 different layers, if you like. But then the roof piece, to have another piece on there, look, the bottom of the roof, if you like. So there's the lower roof, and then you've got the upper roof. If I show you on here, hopefully you can see that. Yep, so you've got, there's this bit, and then you've got this little bit here, and that's what that bit will represent. Okay, so it will need to be built up a little bit more, but not a lot. Okay, so this piece then will have an upper roof, which will then sit on like that. So it'd be easier to wrap the card round having a former at top and bottom of those sections there. Now, I've gone back to the layout and I've measured up to the bottom of the canopy, obviously from this side, so you can see the glass. And this part just about reaches the bottom of the canopy. So I've measured that on my layout to be 160mm. Okay, now you might say, well, that's still quite a lot, but you've got to remember that Fairfield Street is still below and the canopy itself is on the upper level. So the whole of Piccadilly station sits a level up. So I can still use this as a basic guide or a template, because this distance here is still relevant to some degree, because that tells me how far in I can come before I've then got to make this step up. Okay? Okay then, so I've now cut that out and folded it up. Now, just to explain again what I've done there, these are the basic shapes as I took from Google Maps. And I've measured this distance and measured in that far and scored it down. This distance along here, along there, and scored it down. And so on all the way around until that piece will now go in perfectly and sit absolutely perfectly. Now, what I've decided to do, looking back at the photograph, I'm making the whole thing as one slab side. And then all these extra details, like that ridgy bit sticking out there, I'll put on separately. This bit that sticks out down here, there's a bit that juts out. If you pardon me, I'll put a pencil there. It's not as crude as that, obviously, but a bit does stick out at the side just here, this way. So obviously I'll add that separately too. Welcome back. Now, using this as a basic guide, I've managed to structure all this piece of card, cut out that step up I was talking about. So now I need to start thinking about these windows. Now, you'll probably have remembered from the picture I showed you, the computer's off at the moment because it's the next day from the last clip. There were 3 sets of windows in here. So that will be a lot easier to put in now than it was in the previous occasion. So what I did was, again, back onto Street View from Google Maps, and I took a screenshot of the picture, put it into a desktop publishing program and traced this drawing, or you could print it off and trace it that way, but it's been scaled so it's the right height and also a sensible width. So that width now is the same as that. So I can now go ahead, cut this out, cut the windows out, and then cut them out onto that piece of card. Right, welcome back. Now you can see I've gone ahead and done quite a bit more. Now, what have I done? Oh, first of all, I decided to put the formers in top and bottom, which would help just to support the structure. And then I've also obviously cut out the windows, as you can see, but then I put some strengtheners behind and a double thickness one at the bottom there. That's 2mm grey board, because the lift door is set in, whereas the actual window up there and down the sides there are less so. But I've created a bit of depth so I can put a windowsill in, window frames in, without breaching the outside of the brickwork, if you know what I'm saying there. So there's a bracing piece, a double thickness of this card going down there. Thirdly, I then covered it with the brick papers. Now, if I bring the picture back up there and put that against there, you'll see that the colours are not quite right with this one. It is actually a lot more pinky than this. This is obviously more tanny colour, more yellowy, so I need to make it more reddy and more whitey, if that makes any sense whatsoever. But I've just varnished this, so I can now, the next stage would be to paint this. I'm not going to show that. It's literally just putting a very pinky wash over the top, just to hopefully get that sort of colour, as close as I can. The dark grey does need darkening down a tad more, but it's not far off. And not only that, there are some streaky marks on here which I also need to indicate. So my next stage now is to paint this up to match the colours on there, and then fit the glazing inside here with the lines for the different glazing bars, which I should do with the pen, as I did when I was drawing up those for Piccadilly Station. Same down here, fit the door. And this bit, what I'm actually going to do, and also with these bits as well, this is going to be like a backing piece. And then I'm going to mount the window probably around about 5mm in front, so it looks as if there is an interior. Now, I'm not going to fit lights to this, purely because I said that you're not going to see them, and in the odd chance I do put a camera around, the amount of work for the odd occasion I just don't think is worth it, to be honest with you. Starting to take shape now. So you can see now all the window frames are in. If I hold those up to the light, you'll see that they are, there you go. Hopefully you can just about make that out. Now they were done with pieces of label, office label, just coloured black with a marker pen. And then the finest of slithers. And you can see there is a door frame. Oh, that looks a bit messy on the camera, doesn't it? I'll tidy that up in a minute. And all down the side there as well. I thought, as the picture that I was looking at depicted an open window, I thought I'd do one as well, just by my thumb there, which is painted white. My thumb, that is. This piece is going to be wrapped around like so in there, but I need to find out where this comes down, because the roof, the roof comes down and there's a smaller bit, so I need to find out where that is and then cut an appropriate amount off for that bit. But we're getting there now. So the next stage is to put the floors in. So if I take you back to this picture and zoom you in a little bit, you can see these white lines here, and you may just be able to make them out. They look more blue on the picture there, but they are the floors. And then actually there's another one just there running across that way. You can just about make it out at the front there as well. So I've cut some more of those pieces, and they're there drying. And there's some more over there, so there's 4 of those. But they're the smaller ones. It doesn't matter, I've painted them sort of white creamy colour, but they will sit in there just like that and make the taller part to the roof. If you remember, if I go back to this picture again, you'll see that it's got a taller part, and then that's the lower bit that I'm referring to. Okay. Also put the little ridge around the outside, and also this fillet wall as well, which I didn't mention on the last picture. So there's the copings running around the top there, and also I've put this row of glass in down the side there. Now I know I've put masking tape down there, it's just to help it stick really, but you won't see that, and the inside of the wall would be sort of creamy colour anyway, so I'm really not that worried by it. Right, done a bit more now, as you can see. I've not quite completed the top. It still looks a little bit on the messy side, but that's all going to be tidied up. But the basic shapes are in. I think I'll need to give this a bit of a sand, but there are some strips to go round. But all the floors are in now, and quite pleased the way that's looking there. You've got these like white lines running across where the floors would be. So I'm quite pleased with that. So next stage now is to put those strips on, and then paint the top like a dirty silvery colour. And I think we've got there's some more strips going across that way, if I'm remembering from that. Yes. So actually I do need to put a strip around the top as well, but it's getting there. So I think I'll just get this a little bit done, and I think I'll call this video there, because there's loads more to do on this. I mean, there's a canopy to go over the top here, loads of signs to go on, like I said, the strips to go on, and then I've got to build the whole of this side as well. There's a window. I'll turn that around again. There's a big window here. Taking you back to the picture, so you can see there it is there. I might be able to, yeah, there we go. And you can see the roof coming in as well. So I've obviously got to do all of that, and that somehow then links up with the bridge going across, which I'm not going to be doing on this occasion. Actually, also looking, there's another cutout which I'm going to have to work out, and it looks like there's another window in there, but to be honest with you, it's so small I might not bother with that one. We'll see. But definitely getting there. So like I said, I'll get this top bit sorted out and painted silver, and so the next time you see me, we'll be putting it on the layout. The strips I'm going to use are just, again, little pieces of label, just cut very, very finely, painted silver, and then dirtied ever so slightly. All right, I'll speak to you soon. Okay, there's the building in position. Just give you a little look around as well, so you've maybe not even seen inside there. I am trying to hold the camera in my hands, and it's really quite difficult to film in here because it's right down in the well, if you like. But hopefully you can see the building in position now, what that looks like, and up. Now peering over from the top, so looking back down at Fairfield Street, and now if I come back down, excuse me, with the shadow, you can see it is still a tad tall, but I'm more happy with that, if I'm honest with you. Yeah, it won't go any lower than that, I think, but I'm happy with that height. I think, you know, it's a lot more reasonable in terms of the size. Now I'm going to take you around the other side now, bear with. Now you can see there's still quite a lot to do on this side, and obviously there is a roof coming over here, which once this is finished, that will be the next job, and then we'll start the footbridge. But we're definitely getting there. I've cut the platform back a bit now as well. I think this will have to be cut back or folded back. Again, I have to check, but I think there's a little bit of platform sticking out from the edge, but there we are. So just to bring the whole station in line where we are at the moment. Okay, so really hope you've enjoyed this video. Do share, like, subscribe and comment as well. Comments are always very useful and it's lovely to see what you think. Okay, anyway, I'll see you again soon. Take care. Bye-bye now. I hope you've enjoyed this video, and if you have, please do like, subscribe and share, not forgetting to click on that little bell to get regular notifications of any videos I upload. Some other videos are appearing on the screen right now which also might take your interest. Thanks once again, and bye for now.